Hello and welcome to this edition of FYI Weekly, your official source for City of Greensboro news and information. City Manager Ty Jayoba is adding two key roles to the city's administrative team. Chris Wilson, who most recently served as interim city manager, is now deputy city manager. He will lead and provide support for development services and economic development while placing emphasis on the organization's internal daily operations. City Manager Jayoba said Chris has the keen ability to align city assets and leverage the resources of key stakeholders, resulting in notable investments in our community. April Albritton will join the city on February 16th in the new role of assistant to the city manager. This position is a primary liaison between the city manager's office and the city's 22 departments as it relates to city council matters. Albritton will also routinely engage outside agencies and the general public on behalf of the city manager. Albritton most recently worked as the regional recruiter for Sharp Transit, a multi-million-dollar transportation company in partnership with Aldi Food Group. Additionally, she gave back to her alma mater, UNC Greensboro, serving as the director of the Athletic Annual Fund. The Greensboro and Guilford County communities paid tribute to the late Carolyn Coleman, County Commissioner for District 7. The Savannah, Georgia native was the first African-American woman to chair the Board of Guilford County Commissioners in 2005. Under North Carolina statute, county commissioners may appoint someone to fill Coleman's seat within 60 days. The appointee would fill the seat until the next election. Coleman's term was scheduled to expire this year. Prior to the Board of County Commissioners, Coleman served as the special assistant to Governor James Hunt for 8 years, advising the governor on policy, personnel, legislation, and concerns pertinent to the minority community. The funeral took place at New Zion Baptist Church in Greensboro, but her final resting place is in Savannah, Georgia. Greensboro City Council approved nearly $20 million in infrastructure improvements. This includes an increase of more than $18 million in the Water Resources Capital Project Revenue Bond Fund for the Southern Feeder Water Main Construction Project. The feeder water main extension will provide an additional connection from Piedmont Triad Regional Water Authority to meet water demand for the megasite and provide a loop feed for the Forest Oaks service area. Water Resources also received approval for a $1.1 million contract for the TZ Osborne Primary Clarifier Replacement Project. The clarifiers have reached the end of their service life. Greensboro City Council approved more than $5 million to fund the Camp Burton Water and Sewer Utilities Project. This will enable the U.S. Army to develop an Army Reserve Center on the property by 2023. Several other infrastructure items were approved by City Council, totaling nearly $12 million in infrastructure improvements throughout the city. The City of Greensboro developed a partnership with Cone Health to share a series of brief and informative videos designed to inspire you to make better choices when it comes to healthy living. Following these tips is an easy way to help each of us improve our quality of life. Let's take a moment to check out today's news for your health.
The coronavirus pandemic has presented us with a unique and challenging situation. It can create a great deal of anxiety and stress. Anxiety and stress to a limited degree can actually be very helpful. However, taken to a significant degree, stress can create problems for us both physically as well as emotionally. So when trying to manage your stress, there are a number of strategies you can utilize. It is important to really not focus solely on those things we cannot control. In fact, what you should do is have some discussions and think about and even list those things we do have control of. Make it something that you can do together as a family. And it's simple as what you're deciding to watch on television, the things that you do during the day, what you're having for dinner. And those may seem like small things that we all don't even think about during the day, but when you're in a time like this when so much of life feels out of control, those things can feel very comforting. Do not overload on information. It is in fact important to understand the facts and keep up to date on to what is going on. However, you don't want to overload by watching television 24/7, staying with the newspaper, all day long. You need to take a break from that information. Think about the things in your life that you've used in the past that have helped you stay calm. Listening to music, or playing a musical instrument, or reading, talking with family members. These are all the same kinds of things that will help you during this challenging time. Think about creating new routines, whether it's games or watching certain television shows. Try some creative, artistic kinds of things that would be fun and unique. Try to incorporate your children into helping you come up with suggestions of things that would be fun to do. It's really important to understand that, again, stress and anxiety is normal. Do not try to just push it away or pretend it doesn't exist. If we try to deny it and push it down, it sometimes can create really cumbersome feelings, and it becomes more difficult to hold it back than it is just to let it out. It's okay to talk about it, it's okay to acknowledge it, and that in fact will help you work through it. Look at each day as a unique day. We take it one day at a time. Be very present in that day and make it the best possible day it can be. And tomorrow, creativity takes over and you make an entirely new day. But day by day, you will get through this, and that's the best way you can manage some of the stress and the anxiety that comes along with this.
Women in Greensboro have an opportunity to let their voices be heard, and residents have until March to request funds for their favorite projects. We'll have those stories and more news coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. The fourth cycle of participatory budgeting, or PB Greensboro, is underway. The city will provide $500,000 from the 2023-24 budget to fund the PB projects or programs recommended by residents. Submit your idea for a program or project by completing the online idea form by March 31st. The form is available on the city's website in English and Spanish. PB Greensboro is a democratic process where residents help determine how public funds are spent. Residents propose ideas, volunteers develop them into projects for the ballot, and residents age 14 and older vote on which ideas to fund. Greensboro was the first city in the South to implement participatory budgeting in 2015. Since then, more than 70 projects have been approved by residents. They include bus shelters, bike racks, murals, crosswalks, and park upgrades, such as picnic tables and playground equipment. For more information about PB Greensboro, visit the city's website. The Commission on the Status of Women is conducting the 2022 Women of Greensboro survey. This is open to women who are at least 18 years old and have lived in Greensboro for at least 1 year. The survey is anonymous, and results will be compiled and shared with the Greensboro City Council and local community partners to enhance and improve the lives of women in Greensboro. To make sure a variety of women's voices is heard and to increase accessibility, the survey is also available online in Spanish and French, with printed copies in Arabic. A printed version of the survey in English, Spanish, French, and Arabic will be available at the Central Library, located at 219 North Church Street. For more information, contact the Human Rights Department at 336-373-2038. The city scored a perfect 100 points in the latest listing of the Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index, or MEI. The score ranks Greensboro first among all cities in North Carolina, tied with Chapel Hill and Durham. This marks the first time Greensboro has recorded a perfect score and the 7th consecutive year it ranked first or second among North Carolina cities. The MEI examines the laws, policies, and services of municipalities and rates them on the basis of their inclusivity of lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people who live and work in the city. Among the index categories where Greensboro scored highest were in municipal services, law enforcement, and the city's relationship with the LGBT community. The city's Neighborhood Development Department provides a host of programs ranging from code compliance to assisting first-time home buyers. Coming up after the break, we'll check in with Neighborhood Development to see what's new in 2022. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. The city makes it a priority to invest in the quality of our neighborhoods by offering home rehab programs, rental assistance, and deploying code compliance officers to pinpoint problem areas. Joining me now to talk about code enforcement, rental assistance, and other vital services is Sonia Randolph. She is the Housing Rehabilitation Administrator with the Neighborhood Development Department. Hello, Sonia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for joining me. Tell us, what is the purpose of code enforcement and how do we benefit from that?
Well, the purpose of code enforcement really is to improve neighborhoods, improve communities, and to try to pinpoint, like you said before, pinpoint any type of problem areas, and really to help homeowners out to make sure that their houses are up to code, that they're meeting the city's minimum housing code, and to make sure that the structure is safe. And that there are no threatening, life-threatening issues that might impact any of the household members.
Okay, so we should be embracing code enforcement. I know sometimes people like to think it's a adversarial situation and they're just trying to harass residents, but that's not the case based on what you just explained.
Definitely
So
not.
it's good to know we've got our officers patrolling the neighborhoods looking for those issues that you just listed. Now with that, we've had a lot of folks who were impacted by COVID financially, and there was the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. How is that going and how is that benefiting our residents?
So the ERAP program is still going. So we actually partner with several outside organizations to kind of help us administer that program. So from the county to other nonprofits in the area, they are the ones that actually provide the direct assistance. So we don't offer direct assistance here at the city. We just kind of manage the operation of that program. But that program, we've helped to date, I believe, over 160 households here in Greensboro, and we've helped them with short-term rental assistance and also with short-term utility assistance.
Wonderful. I know that was a lifesaver at a very critical juncture. Folks were out of work or the system around the cities were shutting down, eviction notices going out left and right. So it's nice to know that there were partnerships in place between the city, outside agencies, and the county to give a safety net of sorts to our residents.
Oh, yes, definitely. So a lot of people have benefited, and we're glad that we were able to help people during this time.
Absolutely. Now, another big help is to the owners of older homes experiencing issues with lead. How does the city help to resolve those problems?
Well, about a year ago, we were actually awarded a nearly $3 million grant from the federal government to implement a program that we call Lead Safe. And so with that Lead Safe program, it is focused mainly on houses that were built pre-1978 and households that have children in them that are aged 6 years and younger. So those are the priority points. And so what we do is we inspect those houses for lead. And if lead is found, then we're able to use grant funds to remediate or to abate the presence of lead in that structure.
Yes, and that's important. As you mentioned, children tend to put lots of things in their mouth, and the lead paint can chip off the walls, and if kids start eating that, it's a little sweet, I'm told, so they don't really make the distinction that it's a dangerous thing.
Right, and so if it is ingested by a child, or even if large amounts are ingested by an adult or a pregnant woman, it can be very detrimental to your health. So for instance, in kids, what we see is that kids that have a high level of lead in their blood, they experience issues in school because either it has affected their mental abilities, it has affected other organs, and it can do the same thing also for pregnant women or even adults that ingest lead at higher levels. So we see that it impacts different things for different people in different ways. So it's always great to just try to inspect your house if it was built before 1978, and especially if you have any young children there, because like you said, we don't want our young children here in Greensboro ingesting any types or any levels of lead.
Absolutely. And it's reassuring to know you have such a large grant. $3 million will get a lot of work done. Now, what are some of the main goals neighborhood development as a department has outlined for the coming year?
So I will say, again, our overall goal for neighborhood development is to make neighborhoods better. So improve communities, make neighborhoods better. One of our things is to focus on homelessness prevention. So some of that we do actually with our ERAP program and providing short-term rental assistance and utility assistance to people to make sure that people are not put out on the street. The other goal is production. So we do have a housing GSO plan, and we have some specific goals in that plan. And so with that plan, one of the goals is to increase the amount of affordable housing across the city of Greensboro. So production, homelessness prevention, and then also to help with our existing housing stock and to make our existing housing stock better, which is where I come in with the rehab program.
Okay, those are excellent goals, all very important and much needed. At again, a time when our city is growing. We have more people coming to Greensboro, so we need to give them someplace safe to live. Before you go, Sonia, tell us, how can residents better connect with the Neighborhood Development Department?
So either you can go to the City of Greensboro's website and look up the Neighborhood Development Department. There you can actually make an anonymous code compliance complaint. You can look at other code compliance cases across the city. You can also look at any contracting opportunities that we have with our department. So I have a lot of contracting opportunities with rehab, and we're always looking for contractors to help us to rehab houses here in Greensboro. So there's opportunities up there available for everyone. We have our applications are there. If you need to apply for ERAP assistance, you will be directed to an online application system that is monitored by our external partners. The other way to reach us is just simply by calling us. And so our number is 373-2349. And so you can call that number, and Miss Regina will greet you in a loving manner, and she will direct you to wherever it is that you need to be directed to.
Wonderful. Well, Sonia, thank you. It's a pleasure to know that you and your team are just out and about keeping our neighborhoods safe and making programs available to ensure homes are where they need to be. Do come back and give us updates on the outcome of those goals that you shared with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay tuned for some useful information about Greensboro as we tell you something about the city. That's coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to FYI Weekly. One way to stay informed about decisions that impact you and our city is by attending or tuning in to City Council meetings at 5:30 p.m. on the first and third Tuesday of the month. The fourth Tuesday is reserved for a meeting as needed. The City Council has resumed meeting in the Katie Dorsett Council Chamber on Level 2 of the Melvin Municipal Office Building located at 300 West Washington Street. The public is allowed in person, but only in a limited capacity. Those who choose not to be in the building can participate virtually. The Greensboro City Council meetings are broadcast right here on GTN. The meetings are also streamed live on the city's website and on Roku. To review the City Council meeting schedule and agendas, please visit the city's website. Here's an opportunity to learn a little something about the city. The Planning Department's annual Growth and Development Trends Report has been published on the city's website. The report highlights 2021 trends for Greensboro's economy and population growth. According to the report, in 2021, the value of construction was the highest it has been in the past decade. More than $800 million of construction was approved through building permits. There are approximately 30,000 more residents living in the city compared to the 2010 population. Greensboro's population is more diverse now than it was in 2010. The percent of residents identifying as two or more races has increased by 180%. The city's land area is also growing. Greensboro is now 136.5 square miles large. That's an increase of 1.15 square miles after annexing 736 acres last year. This trends report and many others are available on the Planning Department's Population and Statistics webpage. Coming up after the break, we'll showcase our department spotlight, but let's first meet the neighbors who boomeranged back to Greensboro.
My name's Ryan Deal. I work for the City of Greensboro, leading the Office of Arts and Culture, Creative Greensboro. So we chose a house in New Irving Park for a few reasons. The lot sizes are really great. We have several dogs, 3 to be exact, and so it was important to us that we had a nice big backyard. This one happened to be fenced in. Almost anywhere that you select in Greensboro, we found we could be most anywhere within 10 to 15 minutes. And so the convenience factor was there for us, but the size home and the size lot, and the neighborhood is super walkable. We love getting out and walking around from neighborhood to neighborhood in the early evenings especially.
My name's Alejandra Thompson and I work at Thompson Traders. So I moved back from New York City, and I didn't intentionally move back at first. I moved back during the pandemic in March of 2020. And then once I got here and I saw how great life was, I decided to stay. I love so many things about New Irving Park, my new neighborhood. The best one is that I have family nearby. Both of my brothers and their wives and their children live within 5 minutes walking. But I also love how many young families and young children there are in general. What I also love about Greensboro is it's kind of this balance between a big city and a small town. You have accessibility to everything, like airports and restaurants and art and shopping, but it still feels small. There's not a lot of traffic, it's not crowded, so you get this beautiful, balanced life.
So Alejandra, I came back to Greensboro to lead this Office for Arts and Culture for Greensboro. What's your favorite part about arts and culture or the creative community in Greensboro?
I grew up studying ballet at the Greensboro Ballet, so it goes way, way back for me. So I think we have incredible institutions here for art. I think there's a lot of experimentation in Greensboro that people don't know about, and I'm excited to be here and get to discover it.
A thing I love about Greensboro is like all of the things that you would expect to find in a big city. My experience is that you can find them in Greensboro. So there's a great symphony, there's great theater, there's great dance. One of my favorite things in my work has been connecting with and exploring all the amazing artists, like the creative individuals that make this such a dynamic place.
Welcome back. The City of Greensboro has more than 20 departments and several divisions committed to serving you, our residents and visitors. Let's go behind the scenes in our department spotlight. Creative Greensboro will hold auditions for the Evening of Short Plays number 40 at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, February 15th and Wednesday, February 16th. Actors must be at least 16 years old and are encouraged to register online for an audition. Report to Studio 413 at the Greensboro Cultural Center on North Davie Street. Evening of Short Plays number 40 will feature 8 new plays, each written by a member of the Greensboro Playwrights Forum. Evening of Short Plays, now in its 26th year, provides local actors a fun performance opportunity and the chance to be a part of the development of new work. Auditions will consist of cold readings from the playwrights' scripts. Perusal scripts can be requested prior to the audition dates by contacting Creative Greensboro's Performing Arts Coordinator, Todd Fisher. Rehearsals are in the evenings and on weekends as schedules permit. Performances will take place from March 31st to April 3rd. Rehearsals and performances will follow COVID-19 protocols. For more information, contact Todd Fisher, at 336-373-2974. Straight ahead on the other side of the break is this week's Way to Go GSO shout out. Stay with us. As we draw to a close, we always want to end on a positive note with our Way to Go GSO shout out. This week's shout out goes to Greensboro Parks and Recreation. The department is now hiring for all part-time summer jobs. More than 100 openings are available from June to August. Pay starts at $15 per hour for up to 40 hours per week. There is a particular need for lifeguards. The city will hire people as young as 15 years old for those positions, and new hires will receive all appropriate lifeguard and safety training. All applicants are welcome, from students new to the workforce through retirees with a depth of career experience. For more information, please visit the city's website. That concludes this edition of FYI Weekly, but you can easily stay connected to the latest city news by linking to us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. Alexa users can subscribe to our 5-minute flash briefings, which airs on 90.1 FM and 100.7 FM. Be sure to download our weekly podcast, Talk City Greensboro, and now GTN is streaming on Roku. For all of us here at the City of Greensboro, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.